see your hands. Wave them at them bitches hating on you with their friends.
2019. Yeah, I got my surgery in 2019, and it was on my armpits. My good old armpits. I know the first surgery was like very traumatic for me because I never had a surgery. I never went through drastic pain like that. It was a lot to carry on my shoulders, in my spirit, in my mind, in my soul. Like, I didn't know what was to come. I really didn't. I remember I was at home and I didn't feel good at all. Like, I felt like I was out of my body. Like, I don't know, it just felt weird. So I was like, oh, I want to go to the hospital. So I ended up going to the hospital, and the doctors, of course, they're gonna be like, oh, well, we're just gonna send you with antibiotics and pain medication. This day, I wasn't having it. I stood on my ground. I stood on 10 toes. I literally looked that doctor in his face. I said, no, you're keeping me here. I don't care. Like, I need tests run. I've been dealing with this chronic condition for about 10 years. I think it was going 10 years by now. I was like, no, I need medical attention. I need to stay in this hospital overnight. I need to run tests. He knew I was about business, and he was like, okay, well, okay, I guess we're keeping you here. All my family and my friends, they came out and they prayed for me. You know, it was my first surgery. I didn't know what was going to come about. I was scared. I was nervous. I was anxious. I was happy. I was all over the place. I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to think. I just went in. And I was just like, I'm here, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to deal with this, you know. I ended up having surgery. I came to like maybe an hour out, and I just felt out of it. It felt like I was carrying a ton of bricks on my shoulders. My armpits felt so heavy, but it was such a relief because I know this is the beginning of the process. I know this is the beginning of healing. And that was just the first surgery. The first surgery was literally, so it's like 2 surgeries in one. So one, I'm getting everything dug out my arms. They're getting all the bad infection. They're digging through the tunnels that they can find. And then the second surgery is when I go in and they take skin grafts from my legs. The skin, like, it's literally like a thin piece of skin, layer of skin. Before I can get the skin graft, I had to, I think 2-3 days, I had to let the first surgery, like, you know, settle in. They didn't want to do too many surgeries at a time, so they had to wait a few days before they did the skin grafts. They ended up putting the skin graft on, and then that's when all reality hits. I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks after this surgery. I had to wait for a wound vac machine to come in. Those of you who don't know what a wound vac machine is, I will link a clip.
That's what it looks like. Literally a little vacuum, this little holes right here, goes all the way down to this machine right here that helps sucks out the infection.
So that too is in my armpits, as you guys can see, and I would go home, not with that big old machine at the end of the bed, but I would go home with a personal size one. That's what I was waiting for my insurance to approve, and that took so long. When I finally get approved for it, going home felt so good, but it was a lot. It was an absolute lot that I had to go through. So, the first night I went home, I had whole complications. I had complications with this wound vac machine. So with this wound vac machine, if the plastic piece and the foam isn't sealed in and it's not working properly, then they would have to not start the whole process over, but start the whole process over. It's like during the middle of the night, the stuff, it wasn't sealing. It wasn't sticking. I had went up there and I was like, hey, this wound vac machine isn't working. Like, can you get a hold of my surgeon? Like, you know, I need assistance because I'm not finna start this whole surgery process back over. Somebody needs to do something, like, you know? So the nurse was telling me, like, okay, she said, to just wait in the morning and then, come back in the morning and they'll figure it out. So I go in there in the morning, and it's this woman. She was amazing, by the way. They basically had helped us out and moving forward with everything. After that, I ended up getting the room vac machine back on, and I went home. So the process of healing was really unbearable. Like, I could barely get up out the bed. I could barely go use the bathroom. I would have to literally use the little pee bucket thing from the hospital and pee. I would have to lift up and pee in the bed with the little bucket thing because I couldn't make it to the bathroom on time. Like, getting up would literally take at least 20 minutes for me to get up. By that time, I would have peed on myself. So I wasn't able to take a shower until they told me that I could, because the skin on my armpits were really, really fragile, and they didn't want me to mess anything up, you know. So the second situation of what happened during this process of my first surgery.
Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Ay, still not